Shomrabyug.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back in these difficult times to the tiny room. I'm the Michael of Michaelandbenjaminspodcast, and I am joined today by the man for whom social distancing was named after him. It's Benjamin.
I never know whether you're going to be like exceptionally kind or just unbelievably hurtful.
You know, now that you mention it, it's been mean for a few weeks now. I probably should do a nice one again.
You know, that one hurt.
No, I'm glad that
one actually.
I'm glad that you mentioned that.
That one stuck.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, Ben. I think in these difficult times, I think you have to support each other. I think you've had a lovely haircut, Ben, and you're really rocking the self-isolating chic.
Yeah, thanks. Scruffy AF, I think is generally how it's referred to. Anyway, I'm going to see if I have any breathing difficulties by checking out the theme music.
Theme music for the podcast. We don't actually have any theme music.
That's very good. An excellent little conceit that you've clearly planned in advance and not told me about, thereby providing a nice little je ne sais quoi to this week's episode. Benjamin. Now, we are, of course, making light of the situation.
We shouldn't be.
Look, Ben, you know, everyone's suffering, but no one is suffering more than the poor millionaires of Hollywood.
Oh, they're having such a tough old time. And Prime Minister's wives. The Spanish Prime Minister's wife has tested positive. Justin Trudeau's wife has tested positive.
That's interesting, isn't it?
All the wives.
Everybody's wives. Everybody stop licking your wife.
I don't know if Melania has it yet. We'll wait and see.
Well, look, I don't think there's any physical contact between Melania and Donald, so I don't think that's a worry.
Anyway, the also millionaires in Hollywood who definitely do have a lot of inappropriate physical contact with people. If this week's headline
It's bloody lucky Harvey Weinstein's in jail, isn't it? He'd be spreading it like nobody's business.
That shit like nobody's business. Yeah, it's been a tough old week for Hollywood.
So, Ben, here's the lowdown. Films essentially are cancelled.
They're done. Hashtag cancelled.
Hashtag cancel. We're going to go through a bloody list of movies that are cancelled.
Go on. I don't have a
list. Are we doing that first? Okay. No, movies that are cancelled. Postponed is the word they're using.
Cancelled.
Fast 9 is being postponed by a year.
Oh.
Bloody hell, a year.
Oh.
A Quiet Place is postponed, A Quiet Place 2, which is ironical because it essentially describes the current situation. Yes. Also cancelled for the 5th time, Ben, is New Mutants.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
It's had its 5th postponement.
Can't catch a break.
At this stage, Ben, I think that is going to be one of the greatest films ever made. It has had so long
to just tinker and tweak,
to pupate and crystallize into something truly incredible.
Interesting fact: pupate, one of my least favorite verbs.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll pupate you later if you're a good. Benjamin.
If I'm good.
Yeah. Nice little pupation.
It was so much worse when you said if I'm good.
I know, it's good. So yeah, movies are cancelled, Ben.
Yes, they're done.
And cinemas are going to suffer quite a bit.
Greatly.
We have decided here, Ben, at Michael and Benjamin's podcast, that although there are some films out, we're not going to go see them.
It's a poor choice, Michael, in the current circumstances. It's a poor choice.
So we're going to stick to reviewing old stuff and stuff that's on streaming.
Yep, streaming stuff.
Michael and Benjamin's streaming stuff.
That'd be a pretty good podcast.
Yeah, except for like it does sound like we have some sort of virus.
Yeah, well, we're streaming fluids
Michael and Benjamin's streaming stuff. Gross. Benjamin, not every movie was cancelled though.
What?
Bloodshot managed to squeeze out before the virus took hold.
I used a shit metaphor there.
Yeah,
squeezed itself out.
Managed to squeeze out and pinch off. But apparently, Ben, here's the thing. Apparently, not horrible.
Shame no one will ever know.
I know. I think it's had like a $3.5 million opening weekend, something like that.
And how much did it cost?
Oh, I don't know the cost of it.
Hideous amount.
I don't think it wouldn't have been madly expensive. I'd say it was in that unnecessarily expensive $50 to $70 million range.
Yeah, you could have cut that down. No bother.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a $200 million blockbuster.
It isn't.
And it's not a $20 million indie. $20 million indie. What a ridiculous phrase. But yeah, it's in that bracket of too expensive for what it is. What were they thinking?
Yeah.
The I Frankenstein bracket.
Oh, I Frankenstein, man.
It's in that bracket.
There's a monster of a film, huh?
It's in the what other films were in that bracket, Ben? My phone's ringing.
I don't know, Michael. That's a great question.
Maybe that's a topic we can do.
Well, that's a topic we can take a look at.
That's
Bloody Frankenstein films.
Yeah.
Too big for their own good. All right, there's probably quite a few. vanity projects out there, things like that.
Yeah. That Han Solo film was way too expensive for what it was. That cost
What a strange film.
200 million or something.
I only recently found out Darth Maul was in that.
Yeah, it's a nice little spoiler there. Sorry, everybody.
No one's watching the Solo movie. I'm not worried about that.
They can go back now and watch it. Disney haven't got the finger out and released Disney Plus here.
It hasn't been out yet. 23rd of March, Michael. 24th of March. Sorry, 24th of March.
This would be a good time for them to say, okay, guys, let's make a little concession and just release it.
That's absolutely what they should be doing.
If they really want to profiteer from this situation...
And they should want to.
Which I assume that is what they want to.
Entertainment companies, at the very least, should be trying something.
Exactly. Being trying to soulless corporations.
Yeah.
Give people let us suckle at the teat of consumerism.
Sure, look, lads, the pubs here in Ireland are going to be closed as of pretty much tomorrow. A lot of the pubs have been made to close.
Yeah, what the hell?
Because they won't grow up and they didn't close this weekend. Dicey's here in Dublin was having a Corona night.
Was it?
Yeah, it's having a Corona night with Corona specials.
Are they?
Yeah.
That seems...
wildly irresponsible.
Wow.
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 That's not what I'd do.
And people are going. That's the problem. Wow.
I wouldn't do that, Ben.
I wouldn't do that if I was anybody.
If I was in charge of that situation, that's not how I would handle it.
Some of the other pubs have closed. Grogan's, the homestead of old men in Dublin for drinking in the day, has decided to close for 2 weeks. And like the good eggs they are, Michael, they've decided to pay their staff their full wage.
Have they?
For their closure. Yeah.
That bloody won't last long, I tell you what.
No, not as soon as it goes into the 8-week mark, no.
Yeah. Anyway, Ben, look, we're not a bloody social commentary podcast, are we?
Well, we are now.
We are now. Ben, we've made a third list. So we have movies that are cancelled. Mm-hmm. We have movies that are not cancelled. Mm-hmm. For example, what's that one with Chris Pratt and Tom Holland?
Onward.
Bloody
Pixar.
No, nothing about it.
It's about two bros living in a fantasy world. But hey, there's a Pixar twist. It's I'm gonna back away from my mic there because Mick's just giving me the you're in the red nod. It's two bros and they're having a good time in a fantasy world. But wait.
I'm waiting.
Pixar's done twisted it. It's a modern fantasy world. So everyone lives in the suburbs with dragons and shit.
It's Bright.
Yeah, it's Bright.
It's the film Bright.
It's the film Bright without the racial commentary.
Bright Better
is
what it's called. Anyway, look, that has managed to come out.
It's not going to. Look, I don't know if it's going to do very well.
We've composed a list, Ben, of movies that should have been cancelled.
Have we?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Dr. Dolittle.
Yeah, that should have been cancelled ages ago.
Bloodshot.
Ages ago.
Yeah, New Mutants.
Would have cancelled that before it even came out.
They tried to cancel that so many times, Ben. It's very resilient.
It is. It's a bit like coronavirus.
That's what I was going to say. There's only so many jokes.
That's my last one, but I'm glad it's my last one. I feel like that was a good one to bow out on.
Now, Ben, speaking of transmittable diseases, you've been watching Castlevania.
I know. The doctor can't get rid of it. It's on season 3, Michael.
Oh.
Season 3.
That's right, I've heard.
Yeah.
Now,
Mad
Ben,
that it's lasted this long.
Let's talk a
People
little bit
really
spoilers.
like it, Michael.
Let's talk a little bit spoilers here. Okay, little spoiler break. Hold on. Spoiler break. No, we don't have a music yet. No one has made us a music.
Make us a music. You've got time now.
Someone make us a music. Benjamin, is it true that there's some sort of dimensional tunnel in Castlevania?
Yeah, it's called the Infinite Corridor.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
It's called the Infinite Corridor. And the man in charge of traversing the Infinite Corridor is the Count Saint-Germain. Not Paris Saint-Germain.
Paris Saint-Germain, the football team.
Count Saint-Germain, who's a famous kind of immortal figure in different texts here and there.
And what does the Infinite Corridor do? I'm intrigued.
The Infinite Corridor literally does exactly what you'd imagine. It's an interdimensional corridor that leads into different dimensions of the corridor. Now, it's not a corridor in the sense of a big stone, never-ending corridor. It's a big, bloody, shiny Aurora Borealis kind of light tunnel thing with rifts all over it.
Oh.
And yeah, I mean, it's there. It's his central goal, but it's not really that important in the overall scheme of...
I've heard a rumour that... Excuse me. Are these directed by Adi Shankar?
Yes.
And he famously got his start in media by doing a kind of knockoff bootleg universe. If you remember.
Of what?
He's the guy who directed the short film of the Grim and Gritty Power Rangers.
No.
Yeah, where he got some of the Power Rangers actors to come back and be Power Rangers.
Yeah, oh, no way.
Yeah, and I think he did the Punisher fan film.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, Dirty Laundry.
That was great.
And his goal in that his stated goal in that was to make like a bootleg universe.
It's pretty good.
Basically, he wanted to do a crossover universe.
Yeah.
And now
He got pretty close. I mean, he had some pretty interesting visuals in the Infinite Corridor.
that's the thing, isn't
Big
it?
mech suits and stuff like that.
Yeah, and people are saying that there might be a chance for crossovers with Devil May Cry,
I'd say there probably will
which
be,
is
wouldn't there?
another Konami game.
Wouldn't there? There'd have to be, wouldn't there?
So that's the whole thing. Maybe a crossover with Assassin's
He's making
Creed.
a Dark universe.
Yeah.
And a Vania universe.
A Konami universe, maybe.
A Coniverse.
But if he does, he's done it the right way.
Just where it happens to be a subplotty thing.
No, he's established one popular and successful series
Very
first
well.
and then spun
Yes.
off from it.
Yeah. That's
as
true.
opposed to the Justice League method of
We'll just slap this together
slap
and
it
people will
together,
do it.
slap it together. People won't even notice.
Slapping the bits.
Slap it all together.
Yep. So I mean, it's interesting. We come back to the world of Castlevania. It's kind of very interesting, Michael, in this case, because at the end of season 2, and full spoilers for season 2, bloody Dracula dies.
But excuse me, like Duncan MacLeod, he is immortal.
Yes, he's just trapped in hell
Yeah,
for the moment.
good, good enough for him.
Good enough for that L wagon.
Get him in there. Get bloody Harvey Weinstein in there.
Bloody
Get
Bloodshot the movie in there.
Coronavirus. Get them all in there.
All in
together.
the hell portal. So yeah, it's the same kind of anime tradition as the first 2 seasons, except I'm pleased to say the character development has become something of a central thing. They're growing as people.
Oh no.
It's interesting. Warren Ellis is still writing it.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of orgies in this one.
Classic Warren Ellis.
He's waited until season 3 though. He's been very restrained until season
Not
3.
a single willy until
But
season 3.
The second I saw Infinite Corridor, I was just like, oh, Warren, you couldn't help yourself with interdimensional jumping around. He can't help himself.
He can't help himself. He loves it.
Has to have an interdimensional rift.
You're actually, you know what? Funnily enough, when you were talking about the interdimensional rift, I nearly said, like the Bleed from the Wildstorm universe.
Yeah.
And then I remembered that's Warren Ellis
Warren
as
Ellis
well.
can't help himself.
What a coinky dink.
He's such a tosser. Just leave it alone, Warren.
I'm glad he doesn't listen to the podcast
There's no need
anymore.
he does. Yeah, he hates me. There's a
Yeah.
dartboard with my face on it in Warren Ellis's interdimensional rift. But yeah, it's a decent watch, but it's weird. Some of the subplots are completely pointless and not very entertaining. And
So far,
the pace is very
Warren
slow.
Ellis does have a tendency to tie things up nicely.
Yeah, well, we see. Look, it's still enjoyable to watch, and he grows the threat well. Like it's
Has season 3 finished?
season 3 is finished. It's released in one big dump.
Oh, like Bloodshot.
Yeah, exactly. No pinching off though. It's
No.
more of a
There's more coming.
steady plop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very excellent. Benjamin,
Yeah,
I have also watched quite a number of things this week because, as you know,
we're bloody stuck.
yes. And the first thing I watched, Ben, was Steven Soderbergh's 2011 documentary film Contagion. Do you see what I've
That's
done?
very wry, Michael.
Isn't it
very
very
wry?
wry?
Go on, tell us why.
Well, Ben, it's. Did you know that it is currently the most popular illegally downloaded movie in the world?
I did hear something along those lines. Yes.
Honest to God, Ben, it is prescient. It is the most realistic film I have ever seen in my entire life. I'm sitting there, I'm watching it going, that's
That's happened so far.
that's pretty much it, all right. So Steven Soderbergh and the people who wrote that film,
Must be delighted.
they did their research very, very well. Very, very well. I don't know if you know this, Ben, but in the movie Contagion, now let's play a game, right?
Okay.
We're going to play a game whereupon I'll tell you something that happened and you tell me if it's real life or the movie Contagion. So it all starts in China, and it starts when a bat picks up a virus which is then spread to humans.
Jesus.
And then because it happens in Hong Kong, which is, as you know, a port city.
It is.
So, and next to Kowloon, which is the most densely populated place in the world.
Is it?
Yeah, and so the virus then escapes via people traveling by planes, and it lands in different countries.
Classic.
And yeah, exactly. A Ukrainian model goes to the UK, and a cluster of infections start there. An American mom goes back to America, and she infects her son, and her son takes it to primary school, and then people are infected in the primary school.
Nice.
And then the state closes the primary school. Yeah.
Michael, this is last Friday.
Yeah. The disease has an or not, Ben, of about 2.
What's or not? You're going to have to explain that to me.
Or not is the number of people that an average person who's infected will then go on to infect.
Oh, okay. So it's a twofer.
Yeah. So for every person who's infected, they'll infect 2.
Or not.
That's what an or not is, yeah.
Oh, I like
the
it.
or not is the name for that number. Do you know what the or not for coronavirus is?
5?
No, it's 2.
Oh, is it 2? Oh, right. Okay.
It's
Jesus.
wildly similar. It's bizarre.
Did Steven Soderbergh make coronavirus?
I suspect it was either Steven Soderbergh, Disney streaming services, or, the Illuminati. I'm not
I
sure.
really hope that this is all a Disney Plus marketing.
Yeah, they got us.
They got us.
Now, the disease in this is much more lethal.
Oh.
Like it's about 20% mortality rate as opposed to 2% mortality rate.
Oh, that's a good one, isn't it?
Oh, it's a good disease.
That's a hefty
It's a great
toll.
disease. But
Can you imagine the property value, Michael? I'd actually be able to move into my own house.
it's wildly prescient, Ben. There are people warning people to wash their hands.
I love washing my hands.
Use hand sanitizer and keep social distancing, and it's genuinely. I was doing a joke earlier when I said the 2011 Steven Soderbergh documentary film Contagion,
But also,
I mean, it's pretty much a
2011 Steven Soderbergh documentary film.
And then spoilers for the film, obviously, but the big thing about it when it came out in 2011 was all-star cast, obviously.
Okay.
It has Matt Damon.
It
It has Gwyneth Paltrow. It has your favourite. What's her name again?
I don't.
Her from out Titanic.
Oh, Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet. It has Kate Winslet. It has
I like
Lawrence.
Kate Winslet.
It has Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh.
Yeah. It has Keith Mars, Veronica Mars's dad. I can't remember his real name.
Means
Enrico
nothing to me.
something. It has Bryan Cranston.
Oh, Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston is in it. It's an all-star cast, Ben, is what I'm saying. Marianne Cotillard.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's a it's not a sexy film, Ben. It's
I'm going to watch that
It's
now.
about a virus infection. You know what? I think people should watch it because
Might teach you to stay in your bloody house and not
also-
go to the pub.
it has a kind of happy ending in that these things come and they work their way through a population, and if people respond correctly, they pass eventually.
Okay, so it
You
might
know,
actually
it's- yeah.
calm the...
It might actually, in the long run, calm people. But the
That's
big
not
twist
bad.
of it, if you remember, Ben, when it
I haven't seen
came
it.
out in 2011. Well, I'm going to do a little spoiler on you here. Do you want to hear?
I'll take-
No, it's
I'll
not a
take-
little
I'll
spoiler.
take
It's a major spoiler.
Look, I'll take the little spoiler.
It's an absolutely major spoiler, and it really shocked people when it came out in 2011, is that Gwyneth Paltrow is the character who basically introduces us to the virus. And she dies in the first 10 minutes.
Good. I will go home and watch that immediately on a loop.
And she does some very good dying acting. It's one of the most harrowing dying scenes you'll ever see.
Huh.
Yeah. Now, it is softened by the fact that it's Gwyneth Paltrow, and we all know that she's
Kind of enjoying it.
against...
Anti-vax and...
I don't know if she's anti-vax.
Oh, she probably is. Goop probably sells a vaccine bloody alternative.
There is a certain irony of, that the movie is very strongly against anti-science thinking.
And Gwyneth Paltrow's in it.
Yeah. But I think that's before she went completely mad.
I don't think she is mad. I think she's just a ruthless opportunist.
Do you think she might be somehow responsible in the team up with Disney Plus and...
Well, look, she's part of the Marvel family, so I mean, it's entirely possible.
But they're suffering. Ben, they've pushed back... Well, they haven't announced a pushback for Black Widow yet.
But there will be.
There will be, almost certainly.
There will be, almost certainly. WandaVision has been halted.
Yeah.
And Loki has been halted as well, the new Disney Plus series. Mandalorian Season 2 is probably a lot further off now.
Yeah.
Which is a shame, because I'd like to see that.
The weakest thing about the film, Ben, is Jude Law.
Oh, no.
He plays an Australian for some reason.
I love Jude Law.
He's great, but he plays an Australian for some reason, and
Which isn't great.
he's not great at the accent, so it's a bit all over the place.
Truth.
And for some reason, they gave him dodgy teeth.
Struth.
Crikey.
Crikey.
I'm Jude Law.
I'm
Crikey,
Jude Law.
this disease is going to get everyone. I'm a blogger.
He's a blogger.
Yeah, he's a blogger.
Oh, God.
In 2011, bloggers weren't as respected as they are today. got them.
Zing.
Take that, bloggers.
Take that, bloggers.
Anyway, Ben, it's actually
said the two lads doing a podcast.
It's a very good film. There's lots of like lingering shots on door handles after someone has opened it. Someone coughing into their hand, then opening a door.
The thing that really annoys me, Michael, about all
is
that
me.
is you do irritate me
sometimes.
Really, most of the time, I think. It's probably a fair to say.
Hold on a second. I'm just going to point out that when I'm annoying you, it's generally on purpose.
Yeah, it doesn't make it any better for me.
No, it wouldn't. But I mean,
still, Michael is trying to say, he's not a generally annoying person.
No,
is what he's trying to say.
I'm just doing it on purpose.
He's intentionally irritating the life and soul out of me, and that's sadly true.
It's keeping you on edge, keeping you active during this.
Some people would say it's causing like a low level of PTSD at all times. But look, my therapist says it's psychologically harmful.
Here's the thing, Ben.
And you say it's a bit of fun.
Here's the thing, Ben. Here's the thing. It's not post-traumatic because it's still happening.
I know. It's bloody CTSD, current traumatic stress syndrome. Or continual traumatic stress syndrome. Take your pick.
What are we talking about?
What I want to talk about is, do you know what really freaks me out, Michael? Is every once in a while when I read the old headlines and the old COVID-19, it turns out that there's some twat who's intentionally spreading the virus.
Look.
Which irritates the life and soul out of me, Michael.
People did that with every virus in human history, Ben.
Yeah, no, I don't like it though. It's bad egg. I
remember during the AIDS epidemic when people would weaponize AIDS by giving people AIDS
and they'd write it on the mirror in lipstick saying "Welcome to the AIDS Club."
Yeah, not good.
No good. One of my favorite things is that it's given a solid new logic to zombie movies. I read a tweet from one guy who said, if you ever think when a character hides a zombie bite in the zombie apocalypse that's incredibly selfish and wouldn't happen in real life, think of all the people who aren't disclosing that they have COVID-19 symptoms and just carrying on with their lives.
Yeah.
Little does Michael know, I'm covered in the stuff.
Oh no, are you?
No, I'm not.
I'm
fine.
The people have made that's probably illegal what you've just done there.
What, the joke?
Yeah. I think you've just made your first ever illegal joke.
Okay, cool. It was about time. I'm surprised I haven't made one before.
When the CDC come and collect you, I'll be like, what the hell are the CDC doing here? You have no authority here. This isn't America.
This isn't America.
Get out of here, CDC.
Yeah. No, there are some pretty strict laws in Italy at the minute, though. You face murder charges.
Yeah, look, anyway, we're not, we shouldn't be talking
I know, but it's just so interesting, Michael.
Popular culture.
Anyway, sorry, Contagion.
The movie Contagion. People do get arrested in the movie Contagion for spreading false information and
there you go.
For doing lies.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, look.
It's a very good film. It has that, what's it called? What's that type of, what was the kind of buzzword for movies that had that kind of narrative in the early 2010s?
Mockumentary?
No, it's not a mockumentary. It's a drama, but it's hypertextual. Is that what it's called?
What are you trying to?
It follows loads of different characters who are having separate stories, but they're all like Love Actually or...
I think it is hypertextual.
Or New Year's Eve, or
where you have to follow different strands and narratives.
Was that Babel?
Babel, yeah.
Was that Steven Soderbergh as well?
That was Steven Soderbergh as well.
So it has that kind of Steven Soderbergh.
He likes a multi-stranded film.
Yeah, get all my mates in, give them smaller parts.
You're an Oscar winner, aren't you? Get in the film. You're an Oscar winner, aren't you? Get in the film.
Get in the film.
You're Oscar nominated, aren't you? Oh, come on, get in the film.
Get in the film. Boys. Ben, it even has Marianne Cotillard, and she's working on finding the source of the virus in China. And
spoiler alert.
And
Wuhan.
No, it's not Wuhan in this. It's Hong Kong. But it looks like she filmed a load of work. She probably filmed like a whole movie's worth of
her looking for stuff.
This character is investigating it, and then most of it gets reduced to a montage.
Oh no.
So she's like in a lab, and then she's walking downtown and she's interviewing people, and it's all a montage, a silent montage. It's pretty strange, actually.
Oh, that's unfortunate for her.
Marianne Cotillard.
She's fine.
But there's lots of themes in it. There's
a theme?
There's lots of themes.
There's a trope.
There's not that many tropes. There will be a lot of tropes. I mean, it is so much like what's going on that there will be no point in making a dramatization of what's happening now,
because it's already been made
in 5 years' time, because they can just copy Steven Soderbergh's 2011 documentary film Contagion,
beat for beat.
It's beat for beat, back. Go home and watch it. Everybody watch it, and then talk to us about how it's...
Yeah, we'd like to hear that.
It's what's happening. Anyway,
right,
go on.
That got us thinking, Michael.
Oh, very good segue.
Well, Michael, we're not supposed to be here, really, are we, Michael?
No, we're okay. We're a social gathering of fewer than 10, and we're more than a metre and a half apart.
Not in that sense. We were supposed to be Dublin Comic Con this weekend.
Oh,
Michael.
yeah, remember that?
And unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
it had to be cancelled. Well, wisely cancelled.
Yeah.
I think is probably the better way of putting it. But basically, Michael, sure, you and I are normally knackered at this point.
We're usually wrecked.
And we kind of just, let's be honest, Michael, we kind of just push one out at this stage. On the Sunday after Comic Con, we're just kind of like...
We usually get Shane in here.
We usually get Shane
and
in.
we have a waffle.
Shane gets to spin his wheels and it's an awful waffly pod. But there's no chance for a waffle pod this week, Michael, because bloody we're stuck here in our very safe 1.5 meters distance.
Yeah.
And social gathering less than 10. So we decided to look at lock-in films. And what we mean by that, Michael, is we mean films that take place almost entirely in one location.
They explore the themes of isolation.
Yes, usually, Michael, the real villain is the human mind.
Yeah.
Usually in this particular thing.
John Goodman.
Or John Goodman. It kind of depends on which film you're watching.
I was proud of that joke.
It's pretty solid.
I'm so proud of that joke, and it's not even funny. I think that's the best joke I've made in my entire life.
I don't think so. You're quite a funny man.
That was good.
So look, we're going to take a look at that. We're going to take a look at maybe...
Because you said the villain is the human mind, and I said, or John Goodman. It's a reference to Cloverfield Lane.
Which we'll be looking at in this very podcast.
Very good.
We'll also be taking a look at bottle episodes, which is a concept that kind of jumps around here and there. And we're just going to take a look at some of the best and worst of those closed room, kind of closed set situations. So yeah.
Do you want to start?
Yeah, because I just did the thing where I introduced the topic.
Benjamin.
Yeah.
I watched a film starring, amongst other people, Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Miss Winstead.
Who you'll remember from being The Huntress.
Yes, in the much lauded 2020. 2020. 2020 film Birds of Prey. Or The Fabulous Emancipation of Harley Quinn.
Or Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey.
Depending on where you saw it in the world and at what point in time you saw it.
And Ramona Flowers.
Ramona Flowers is how I know Elizabeth Winstead.
And she also played the secret villain in the teen superhero movie Sky High.
Oh yeah, she was the
I can't remember. Technomancer?
Yeah, Technomancer.
Is that what her name was?
No good.
She was mean in that.
She was real mean.
Anyway,
she strung that poor young man along.
And she also has in this film with her John Goodman.
Mr. John Goodman.
Is it John Goodman?
It's John Goodman.
It is, isn't it? He's not a good man in this though. He's a real prick. So Ben, Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with Cloverfield. That's a lie, first of all.
Oh.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, Michael.
You haven't seen 10 Cloverfield Lane?
I haven't seen 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Have you not seen 10 Cloverfield Lane?
I haven't seen 10 Cloverfield Lane.
You should watch 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Is it the best of the Cloverfields?
I really enjoy Cloverfield, the movie Cloverfield.
The first one?
Yeah.
With Zooey Deschanel?
Zooey Deschanel's not in it.
With what's her name? Liz Kaplan.
Lizzie Kaplan, yeah.
That's who I was thinking of. I always get those two mixed up. Why? I don't know.
Because they've got fringes and big buggly eyes.
And actually, funnily enough, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I often mix up the three.
She's got fringe and a big buggly eyes.
Yeah, that's what it is. I can't distinguish between... I often think that... Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Go on, keep going. that was a joke that I bit my tongue on quite quickly. Go on.
Spin your wheels there.
Yeah.
So, and it also has some other guy who I don't recognise. And that's it.
That's it. It's just a cast of three.
There's essentially three people in it. There are one or two people who have a line or two, but it's a cast of three because it's about an isolation situation. Because Mary Elizabeth Winstead is a young lady who's trying to escape from an abusive boyfriend. Not unlike the beginning of The Invisible Man, which we saw a few weeks ago. But in this case, Ben, she is driven off the road and wakes up chained to a bed in what looks like a nuclear bunker with a madman.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And the great mystery is he is telling her there has been an attack. Maybe the Russians, maybe nuclear.
The Ruskies.
Maybe biological.
Oh.
Maybe aliens.
Maybe Bernie Sanders and his socialist agenda.
Exactly. Maybe Bernie Sanders is there asking her once again for her handcuffs. And so the movie then is about her kind of trying to escape or figure out what's
Or
real.
should she?
Or should she? Because at one point during the movie, a woman bangs on the door of the shelter, and her face is melting off.
Oh.
And John Goodman's like, I bloody told you.
I told you there's stuff going on outside.
I told you there's bloody stuff going on. Why are you not listening to me?
Why is her face melting?
Because something got her.
Oh, something done got her.
Yeah.
She done got.
Yeah, she done got by something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no.
What was the something? Don't know.
We'll never know.
And John Goodman's like,
Yo,
you bloody better start behaving yourself. Or
I
else you're
really
going
am
to
a
this,
good man.
Yeah, or else you're going to this vat of acid.
What?
Yeah.
There's a vat of acid.
Yeah, he has a vat of acid because he's mental, you see.
Ah, because he's a madman.
He's a mad...
John Madman.
He's a mad conspiracy theorist, preparationist, isolationist.
What's the acid made of for prepping for the
melting
end of the world?
things.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a very good film.
Okay.
It's a truly, truly very good film. It's a very good... The horror of being at the whim of a lunatic.
Well, it's also not knowing if you're going to be jumping out of the frying pan into the fire.
Yeah. It's very, very... it's very tense. It's very well acted.
I mean, it sounds like it has all the best qualities of a locked room narrative,
It does,
Michael.
and it has... Mary Elizabeth Winstead plays a very good female character. And I know you could just say character, but she's not...
No, it's important.
But she's not a hapless victim either.
Yeah, in this kind of narrative, Michael, I think it's perfectly fair to draw attention to the fact that a female character is written and played well.
Yeah, she's no match for him physically, obviously.
But he's a big man.
He's a
John
big
Big Man, huh?
John Big Good Man. He's a big, huge unit. And he has a gun and she doesn't.
Ah, no, not a gun.
But the constant flippy floppy between whether she trusts him that he's telling the truth or whether
He's just a bad egg.
he's a lunatic who's kidnapped her. Oh, Ben, num 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 num, delicioso.
It's a little bit of Michael.
It's very good. It's very entertaining. Now, do you want to hear the twist ending?
Yes, go on. Spoilers for... Well, hang on. For anybody who actually hasn't seen this and wants to go down...
If you want to go and see it, now is your chance to get out of here. Because it's a very good film and a lot of the enjoyment of it hinges on...
The twist.
Well, not if there is a twist even. What I'm saying is...
The ending.
I'm going to tell you
Okay.
if he's mad or if he's kidnapped her or if there's being an attack.
Oh, well, that's quite a big spoiler.
Exactly. So I'm about to tell that now.
So don't listen.
So if you don't want... No, don't tell the listeners not to listen.
Don't listen to us.
Please listen,
ever.
for the love of
Never
God.
listen
Please
to
listen.
us. Turn
so
off.
I'm about to say whether or not he's mad or whether or not there's been an attack or... Are you ready?
Yeah.
Both.
But Michael...
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So
he's a madman.
He's a creepy, mad, kidnapping...
Creep.
Probably sex murdering creep.
Nice.
Who has built this bunker and uses it to kidnap young women and kind of brainwash them into being his daughter, essentially.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if he does the sex on them. I don't think he does.
Oh, he's just a creepy daddy.
Yeah, he just wants to be the creepy daddy because he's a madman. But also, Ben, aliens have attacked.
What?
Aliens have attacked and they're spreading some sort of powder that melts people.
Oh.
Yeah.
Grim.
Yeah, and weird and definitely not planned. 100% totally not planned. Because this movie wasn't written or pitched as a Cloverfield movie.
Oh,
it was pitched
as a locker room.
Yeah, it was pitched as John Goodman captures Mary Elizabeth Winstead. All
right, very specific.
Yeah, it was oddly specific. Like we can get you John. Who's another big unit? Who else could play a slightly unhinged man?
Jason Momoa.
We can get you... No, the women would be like, oh, kidnap me, Jason.
What's his name? Clancy Brown? Is it?
Clancy, yeah,
what's
Jones.
What's his name? Clancy... No, what's his name?
Clancy Brown.
The big guy.
Yeah, the Kurgan.
Yeah, the Kurgan.
Yeah, Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Krabs.
Yeah, yeah him. Yeah. Could get him.
He's
you
great.
Get Ron Perlman.
Oh, Ron Perlman would be great.
David Harbour even.
David Harbour is a creepy...
So, yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, so it was written as that. And then they said, let's make it a bloody Cloverfield film and have it end with, actually, there are aliens. So the last 15 minutes are Mary Elizabeth Winstead fighting aliens. It's
what?
Fucking bonkers.
Does she survive?
Yeah, she does, yeah. And she heads off towards... She has two options. She can go to where it's safe in Houston, but there's people in a hospital in Baton Rouge and they need help. And she goes towards Baton Rouge.
For fuck's sake.
Sequel bait. but the sequel would
No
have been
sequel.
The sequel would have been there was a sequel, the Cloverfield Paradox.
Yeah, but it wasn't a real sequel. It wasn't a direct sequel.
Yeah, fucking mad. And when she leaves and she sees the alien and she's escaped and she's made a containment suit
Out of
stuff, and she's escaped, and there's the moment of she's done it, she's escaped, and she sees the aliens and she goes, "Oh, come on." And the whole audience is going, "Yeah, actually, hold on a second. this has taken a turn.
Hang the fuck on.
This is not the psychological manipulative horror of human nature that we were watching 10 minutes ago."
And now it is aliens.
Why is she kicked that alien in the head? What's going on?
So what size are the aliens? What kind of aliens are we talking about here? They're Cloverfield style aliens?
No. There's a big spaceshipy thing.
Okay.
And it drops like some sort of alien dog thing to get her.
Oh.
So I'd say it's probably about the size of a cow, maybe a bit bigger.
It's pretty big.
Yeah, it's a big unit of a thing.
Yeah, you wouldn't like that. How did she beat it?
She puts fire in it.
Ah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
She blows up the ship.
Good for her.
Yeah, because the gas that they're using to melt the humans turns out to be flammable.
Oh, well, that's not good for them.
Bad planning by the aliens.
Not great.
Yeah.
Bloody, if all you have to do is put a lighter up, that's not great.
So yeah, it's bizarre. It goes from a bizarre locked room narrative with John Goodman, which is like in the escape from the house, John Goodman is killed.
What?
Yeah, so she manages to kill him and escape, and then it's aliens.
Why didn't she just live in the house?
Because he's horrible and he killed
He
people
died.
and puts
No, but he's dead.
No, but the house blows up and stuff.
Oh, okay. There's a whole reason she can't go back to the
Yeah.
house.
During the escape, there's a fire and so on.
Stiff. Michael, that's from one bizarrely sci-fi locked room.
What's going on? Why is aliens?
Why is aliens? Well, let's go into my pick, Michael.
Okay,
for
what
one
did
of
you
these.
pick for your-
I picked bloody Moon.
Oh, that's got a sci-fi twist.
Moon's got a big old sci-fi twist. Moon, for anybody who doesn't know, stars Sam Rockwell, and he
does rock well.
He rocks so well.
He rocks very well indeed.
I watched a recent music video with him as the main dancer. Very good. But anyway, Michael.
I'm listening.
He's literally the man on the moon.
He's on the moon.
He's living on the moon. And he's part of a mining company. Does a little bit of mining.
He does a little bit of mining.
A little bit of mining.
What do you do? I like reading books. I like being on the moon, and I do a little bit of mining.
A little bit of mining in my spare time. So anyway, he's hired by this company, and he's coming to the end of his contract, Michael, because he's been living on the moon for, I think it's 3 years. Is it 3 years?
It's a long time to spend in isolation.
3 years. Yeah, it's a long time. And he's got no mates.
No.
He's got no mates. He does have Kevin Spacey.
The voice of Kevin Spacey.
Noted bad egg, Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, that's not great, is it? You
Not
might as well
great.
You might as well have your man.
Well, he wasn't a bad egg at the time.
Well, he was.
Wait, no, he was. He was an unknown bad egg.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's directed by Duncan Jones, son of David Bowie, which is a fact I always point out when I mention Duncan Jones, because I think it's really interesting to be
Poor
the
old
son of
Duncan
David
Jones.
Bowie. Duncan Jones, who just couldn't make a right move after this film.
Come on now. Jake Gyllenhaal's On a Train was pretty good.
Oh, yeah. Was that him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that was okay.
Wasn't it?
I don't know. You're going to have to look that up, Michael, while I spin my wheels.
I think
So anyway, Sam is bloody looking forward to some
Warcraft,
stuff.
though, that's no use.
Warcraft is no good. Unless you're Chinese, they love it.
Bunch of lads.
Grand bunch of lads,
Oh,
except for...
Let me. Can I just roll back a little second?
Go on.
The Chinese in Contagion. It's 2011 and it's Steven Soderbergh, so it's obviously slightly pre-Chinese investment in Hollywood movies.
So we can be a little bit critical of
The
the
Chinese are not a grand bunch of lads. It's so weird because I was watching the first 20 minutes with my good lady friend saying, the Chinese, they'll be a grand bunch of lads. And they seem like a grand bunch of lads, but then they turn out to be the baddies.
Well, there you go now. Bloody prescient. But anyway, let's take a
There
look.
goes our Chinese sponsorship.
So Moon, on the other hand, it's very much a locked room narrative. There's no psychological, well, there is psychological tension, but there's no direct antagonist in Moon. There's the slow creeping grip of madness. There seems to be some kind of creeping sickness attacking
code.
Sam Rockwell. Source code, yes. Is it by Duncan Jones?
Yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal's On a Train.
Jake Gyllenhaal's on train. That wasn't bad, in fairness. But
Pretty good.
he did that awful one for Netflix
Mute.
with Paul Rudd and Mute. That was
Mute
terrible.
yeah, no good.
It was tied into the Moon universe, though. There's a little Moon cameo on the
It was,
screen in the
remember?
cafe.
Yeah.
But anyway, basically, what happens is, it turns out, Michael,
Go on.
in a twist of events, he's been having video conversations with his wife, who misses him back home, and his daughter, etc., etc. But Michael,
Go on.
something's off.
What's off?
Something's off.
What's going on?
Sometimes he'll ask a question, he won't get the right response. It's like she's avoiding answering the question.
Oh, I see.
And sometimes he'll say he's looking forward to seeing her, but it's a bit weird message, Michael. It just doesn't make any sense. And as we go along, Michael, and we'll do full spoilers here for the end of this film because it hinges on the ending as before, Michael. It turns out that
Hold on. Spoiler break. Do a little sound. Right, here we go.
It turns out that this Sam Rockwell is a clone.
He's a clone.
He's a clone. It turns out this company has been illegally cloning the same man that they originally had up on the moon, who was Sam Rockwell. And they've just had clones in the background all the time. And basically these clones don't have a very long lifespan. They last about the length of the contract, which is about 3 years. And then they kick the bucket, Michael. They think they go home, but they kick the bucket. And a new clone is put in their place with implanted memories.
No good.
All those conversations with his wife are recorded.
Benedict Wong is in it.
Huh?
Benedict Wong is in it.
Is in what? Source Code or Moon?
Moon.
What's he in? Oh yeah, he's on the ground, isn't he?
Yeah. He's always the space guy on the ground.
He's the space guy on the ground. That's what Benedict Wong does. Yeah, but anyway, it's a really, really interesting thing, and it kind of gets into the whole ethics of whether or not mining companies have absolute say over people's souls. And according to Moon, yeah, maybe. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. We did put this out to listeners as well, Michael, because we can't watch everything, Michael, even though we have all the time in the world now.
All the bloody time in the world.
But we did put it out to listeners because I couldn't for the life of me think of many examples. My most recent example and my recency bias for this was the Mandalorian episode on the prison craft where they go and rescue somebody as part of a little team. But it's not really a bottle episode because there's a whole lead up to it.
There's a lead up, and it starts and finishes somewhere else. I don't know how
that only occurred to me after, Michael.
Yeah, that's a prison break.
So that wasn't my pick in the end. But we put it out onto the gram.
Go on.
And we got a whole bunch of stuff from long time listener to the podcast, Infinity Action Art. Buried comes to mind with Ryan Reynolds. That's where he's stuck in a coffin for an entire film.
Get out of there, Ryan Reynolds.
Pretty interesting experimental thing.
Buried is quite an experience of a film.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
No.
It's first of all, it's surprisingly good for a one-man performance of a man in a box.
Ryan Reynolds is pretty decent.
Yeah.
He's a dark horse.
He's a bit of an owl. He's Deadpool sometimes, and sometimes he's acting.
Sometimes he's actually acting.
Yeah, sometimes he does a bit of acting. But yeah, Buried it's not quite as psychologically grim and horrible as you might think it is. And it's a very different isolation and fear from the isolation and fear of the other things we've just been talking about.
I think that might be my worst nightmare ever, being buried alive.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be a big fan of it, to be honest.
I don't think I could do it. I'd have to do it. But
Cloverfield Lane actually plays on some of those fears as well, with some crawling through little ducts. And
I don't like any claustrophobic stuff.
Yeah. No, I'm not a big fan of it myself, Ben.
No, you're a much bigger man than me, though, so it's much more threatening for you.
Well, it depends on the size of the hole.
That's true.
Because if, let's say, there was a hole that was too big for me to go in, too small for me to go into,
you'd never even bother.
I wouldn't even bother, and you might
send me.
We might have to send you in, and say to you, "Now, Ben, that hole is too big, too small for me to go in. So if you get stuck, I won't be able to help you. Don't get stuck."
And then I'd get stuck,
which is one of the lines from Cloverfield Lane.
Oh,
yeah!
Look what you did. Look how meta-referential. So he suggested Buried,
and it's not like. Do you remember when? Sorry. Do you remember when in Underworld Evolution or the other Underworld, Kate Beckinsale is crawling through air ducts, and they're just high enough for her to do a sexy crawl.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that? Ben?
Oh yeah.
It was in the goddamn trailers.
Yeah.
There's no air duct in the world that big, but this is not that. This is Mary Elizabeth Winstead squeezing through a tube which is barely bigger than her head.
Oh, I don't like that, Michael.
Yeah, no, I don't like it.
No, it's already giving me a little bit. My heart rate's just picked up a little bit. I have that tingling in my fingers.
Have you seen The Descent?
Yeah, hate that one as well.
You wouldn't like that.
I have seen The Descent. Good God. I actually, Michael, had the opportunity to go cave exploring, potholing and stuff like that.
Spelunking, I think you call it?
Spelunking. No idea what you'd call it, Michael. I couldn't do it. I was in Slovakia and I was given the opportunity. Tried it. Didn't like it, Michael. Turns out I have a genuine discomfort around tight spaces and things like that. Genuinely had a little panic.
Oh, good.
Not pleasant.
I can imagine.
Don't like it.
Where were you going?
Well,
We were talking about.
you don't want to interrupt me again?
Oh yeah, I'm going to interrupt you.
Okay,
again.
good.
So your first time on this podcast, Ben?
He kind of brought up some interesting things to do with Reservoir Dogs and The Hateful Eight. Tarantino has a little bit of a bent for a closed location.
That's true, actually.
I think it's probably true. The lead up is always not in the closed room, but the majority of action in a lot of Tarantino films happens in a closed room. For example, the Reservoir Dogs, his famous first film, his debut, and they're all in the warehouse.
Yeah, they're in a warehouse.
They're in a warehouse.
Yeah.
Hateful Eight takes place mostly in a log cabin.
Yeah.
A bunch of lads acting a maggot.
Mm-hmm. And ladies.
And then that got me thinking about Pulp Fiction after he suggested that. Pulp Fiction, most of the little vignettes take place in a fixed location.
It's not true of every film.
No, but like the vignettes are small closed stories, so I think it's slightly. I mean, all scenes take place in a fixed location, unless you're dealing with a bloody infinite corridor. But in general,
very good.
In general, Butch's storyline takes place in the pawn shop. John, what's his name?
Yeah, but I mean, thematically,
no.
These aren't based around themes of isolation or
No,
themes
not at all.
of being cut off.
But there are other examples.
Go on.
That was given to us by Infinity Action Art, and one of the best ones, I think, Michael, that's very old, is
Yeah.
bloody Rear Window.
I'm going to tell you a secret, Ben. I've not seen Rear Window.
That's okay. Don't worry about it, Michael. It's fine. Very old film, Michael. Alfred Hitchcock, master of cinema.
I think it's Albert Hitchcock.
I think you'll find it's Alfred Hitchcock. Don't even start. And it stars Mr. Jimmy Stewart. And Mr. Jimmy Stewart has broken his old leg.
So he's in isolation.
He's in isolation. He doesn't have a virus, but he has to stay.
He's got a sore leg.
Basically, he's stuck in his apartment on the top floor. There's no elevator in his apartment. It's broken.
This is the 60s.
So he's stuck in his apartment in the 60s. And he thinks, what does he take to? Spot of voyeurism.
Yeah.
There's no Netflix in those days, Michael. No bloody Gram.
No.
Back in the day. Podcasts, get out of here. Get out of here.
Well, don't get out of here. It's,
no, I mean, you can stay now.
Stay in.
Yeah, no, self-isolate, please do. But he takes to a spot of voyeurism. He gets himself a pair of binocs.
Go on.
And he starts bloody spying on his neighbours.
And it turns out there's something afoot.
Oh, there's something afoot. He thinks he witnesses a murder. And the whole thing, Michael, is based around this thing of, am I mad? Am I not mad? Maybe I'm just super bored. Maybe I am. Maybe I haven't. He enlists the help of a young lady to go and snoop for him.
Mm-hmm.
And the young lady, we never follow the young lady directly. So basically, we only ever get Jimmy Stewart's perspective.
Oh, very clever.
So he keeps an eye on her moving her way through the apartment block opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And we just don't know what's happening, Michael. It's very tense. It's a great way to tell a story. And in the end, they kind of realize that they're being spied on from across the way. So they're making their way over to his building. Oh. And it's, Michael, what a flick.
Look, I'll watch it. I've got loads of time.
Mr. Jimmy, you do. We suggest that you watch all of these, ladies and gentlemen, because you have time.
Another good selection, was it from Infinity Action Figure Art, was Phone Box.
Phone Booth was one of mine, I think.
Was it one of yours?
Well, let's find out. Hang on, let me.
It's a good shout, though, isn't it? Because it has a weird twist on the whole idea of being isolated and lonely, because he's in a transparent box and he's trapped by circumstance.
Yes, Phone Booth was in my actual caption
in your post. Yeah, good shout, though. Good
yes,
shout.
the old Fowler.
Has the Fowler in it. But, yeah, not really the same sense of social isolation. And
because he's been surrounded by people.
He's surrounded by people, but he's trapped, but he's surrounded by people.
Yeah, he's not like entirely surrounded by people, but like he's surrounded by people.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of interesting ones there, Michael. I have some other ones here because we have to fill out the topic. I took a look at a little bit at 12 Angry Men because I kind of went on a retro fixation after Alfred Hitchcock. That's a great example.
I think it's Albert Hitchcock.
I think you'll find it isn't. But this is a really fascinating old film. You probably studied it for junior cert.
I didn't.
You probably had to see it for junior cert.
Ben, when I did junior cert, we didn't do films.
Did you not?
No.
That's a modern thing.
That's very modern now.
Very
I have
modern.
to say, very modern. He'll be doing video games next.
That should Jesus lads.
Them Sims.
The dark. Is it Dark Holes? Is that what it's called? Dark Holes. It's a very difficult game now. Very difficult game. How do you think the complexity of Dark Holes compares to Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, etc. Comparative text, lads. Great crack
Them
in
Sims.
the old thing. Anywho. Sheer madness today, Michael. I don't like being locked inside. I don't like self-isolating.
It's fine. It's fine. We're fine.
Drives me absolutely
Everything's
mental. 12 Angry Men is not as psychologically tense, but a great kind of progression of action and dialogue in a closed box. It's about 12 angry men who are debating whether or not a young man has been sentenced to death correctly. He's guilty. He's going to head for the chair, and they have to debate whether or not he's actually guilty.
Is he? You've said just there he's guilty. Are they deciding if he's guilty or not?
No, they have to decide. So it's about a jury.
Right.
And they've been asked to make their decision.
Yeah.
And basically everybody says guilty, 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 guilty,
Except
guilty,
Walter
guilty, guilty,
Matthau.
guilty. So Walter Matthau, right at the end of the room, he's like, I just don't know.
Is it Walter Matthau?
No.
Or is it
I
Jack
don't know who
Lemmon?
it is. I think it would be...
Who's the dissenting voice?
Let's find out.
You find out.
It could be Humphrey Bogart, I don't know.
Is it old Humphrey Bogart? Is it Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah.
Famously acting.
In a coffin.
Yeah.
12 Angry Men.
Right, we're going to find out, ladies and gentlemen. Ben's going to... I'm going to spin my wheels
You're going to
here
spin
while
your
Ben-
wheels there while I
Ben
find
finds
out.
out who the dissenting voice in 12 Angry Men is.
Keep going.
I reckon it's TV and
Henry
cinema.
Fonda.
Henry Fonda.
Henry Fonda.
The inventor of Ford, the Ford automobile.
Yes, the Ford automobile. Henry Fonda. Yeah. So he just says, I just don't know. And that sparks the seed. And slowly we see that his argument and his logic starts to turn all the other jurors to maybe, oh God, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not sure. There's a lot of themes there that are quite unexpected. The young man who's being accused is a Latino man.
Oh.
So there are hints of racism.
Oh,
he seems to be having the book thrown at him simply for being a bit tanned.
Good old America.
And there's a lot of debate around that. You know, he must have done it. Look where he's from. It's a real nature versus nurture debate as we go along. Very interesting, Michael. Very interesting. Anything else, Michael, on your end?
That's it, I think, Ben.
That's it for us. Okay, well, we'll do bottle episodes another time, ladies and gentlemen, because we really don't have that much time left on this particular podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite you to send us your recommendations. We have time now.
We've got loads of time. You're probably bored anyway, so...
Send us a watch
What are you
list.
doing?
Send us a watch list, lads. And what Michael and Benjamin will do is we'll compile it into a little list and we'll put it up on our Instagram. So everyone can enjoy a watch list. We'll have a little bloody quarantine movie club. Starting with bloody Contagion. Go watch it. Find your little spark of hope again and go from there. Ladies and gentlemen, what would you like to hear covered on this podcast? We have lots of time to do lots of research.
I'd like to hear people's mouths covered when they cough.
Yeah, well, that'd be nice. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be doing this podcast remotely from now on. We are actually retiring from the tiny room for the foreseeable future, and we'll be doing bloody video podcasts like we did when I was in Italy.
Not video podcast, Ben. That's not for... The listeners will think now it's going to be on video.
No, it's not going to be on video. Sorry, no.
You and I will be
videoing each other, and we're going to try and do that.
Unless this all blows over in the next 2 weeks.
It won't. But look, that's not how contagions work.
Well, I've seen the 2011 Steven Soderbergh documentary film Contagion.
So I'm feeling pretty confident about knowing everything about viruses. Ladies and gentlemen, is there anything you'd like to hear? You can get in touch with us in a number of ways. We are on SeomraBeag.com, SEOMRABEAG.com.
Means tiny room in Irish.
Does indeed. We are on the gram at SeomraBeag, SEOMRABEAG.
Still means
tiny room in Irish. Where are you listeting to us, ladies and gentlemen? You listen to us on Spotify? Give us now a follow.
Yeah.
You listen to us on YouTube?
Probably not.
What are you doing over there? Get the fuck over.
Nisha.
Hey, Nisha. Give us now a like and subscribe. Hey, listen to us on Apple Podcasts? Give us a review. You have time now. There's no denying. Are you listening to us on Google Podcasts? Share us with your friends.
No, I have an idea, Ben. Will the person who does the best Apple review with the most virus-related puns... We'll read it out.
Yeah, he'll get red. He'll get full on red. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, do stay safe out there. It's a bit of a grim old time altogether. Try not to go mad. We have a whole back catalogue of podcasts that you can listen to at your will. In fact, what I'll be doing during the week is I'll be giving you my highlights of our podcast so far.
Yeah,
and I'll be posting them on the gram. So we'll have a daily Ben's favourites. And then next week we'll do a daily Mick's favourites.
Any of the ones with me in them.
Any of the ones with Mick in them and not Ben.
I didn't say that.
That's it from us, ladies and gentlemen. It's probably my crippled self-esteem just filling in the blanks. That's it from us this week, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to wash your hands. Bye.
Bye.